Welcome to the Executive Innovation Show podcast, where we bring you real executive conversations with industry game changers and thought leaders. We ask the questions you're thinking, what you're scared to ask, and we make your brain hurt afterward. With your host, Carrie Chitsey, co-founder and CEO of One Touch Video Chat, live video interviews, and the nonprofit Humans Helping Humans.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Executive Innovation Show podcast. We have our part 3 series to all things Gen Z, and this is our healthcare segment. Again, we're here, if you haven't tuned in to part 1 and 2, with some Gen Zs from Anderson High School here in Austin, Texas. So we're going to be talking about all things healthcare. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
All right. So there's a lot going on in healthcare right now. There's been a big shift of going to your kind of local doctor. Now you have urgent cares kind of on the corner, retail clinics. You can go into your local kind of pharmacy and be seen for, cold, sinus, things like that. And then some insurance and some doctors offer telehealth where you can just video from home or school or work to your doctor if you have something, so they can call you in a script or see you. So I want to go around the room and really get your guys' preference. So if you were sick, if you had the cold or things like that, and I know a lot of it's depending upon, where your parents are willing to take you and insurance and all that kind of stuff. But if you had to make the decision over mom or dad, would you rather make an appointment and go into your local doctor? Would you rather run into kind of a clinic, maybe at a grocery or local pharmacy? Would you rather go into kind of one of those freestanding ERs that you see from that perspective, or go into like a hospital ER kind of room from that perspective? So let's just go around and tell me kind of what your preference would be if we took mom and dad and driving out of the mix from that perspective.
I think it would just depend on like how serious your symptoms are.
Yeah, so I'm talking low acuity, which means, I got allergies, or I got a cold, or I've got, bronchitis, something that, from like...
I've just got allergies or cold. I'd just stay home.
Yeah. But if you needed to go get, like, let's say a prescription or something like that, and you knew that, hey, it's been lingering for... a few days, and mom or dad saying, hey, we need to, go see a doctor. What would be your preference from that standpoint?
Probably go see a doctor.
Okay. At a local physical, like make an appointment with your primary care physician, or
just go down to like Walgreens.
Okay. Go to the local pharmacy.
I would probably call a doctor and ask them like, hey, what should I do? And then go to a local pharmacy and pick up something.
Okay. And when you say you'd call a doctor, would you call your doctor or?
Yeah, I'd call my doctor, or you call a doc or something like that. Like, cause I don't want to leave my house when I'm feeling horrible.
Okay.
I just want to kind of get it taken care of.
Got it.
Yeah, I'd say recently I've probably just, whenever I have been sick, more, I don't know if it's like WebMD or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just something online where you can talk to someone, give them your symptoms and like what you're dealing with, and they can just prescribe you something and you can pick it up.
Okay.
Just because that's the easiest thing I find to do. Because like she said, you don't really want to leave when you're sick. So
I should have given you guys the other option, which exactly what you're saying, is telehealth. So you've been able to just at home telehealth with a doc. Have them either call you in a script or say, go pick up something from that standpoint. So, okay, telehealth, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. Unless it's like a physical ailment, then just call it in, get a prescription. You can just run to the grocery store or Walgreens to pick up. Sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to say Walgreens.
It's okay. Yeah.
Personally, I just like going to like the local clinic. You can answer any questions there. It's more personal. If they see something, they can take care of it. I think it's just a lot. Personally, I feel like it's safer and leaves less room for like misdiagnosis and stuff like that.
Okay. And how do you guys feel about the traditional? So first of all, Do you think it's important to have a primary care physician that you go and see locally, like a primary care physician? Do you think that's important to have that relationship?
Yes.
Yeah, very much.
I don't. I haven't had one in a really long time. I feel like it's kind of just a waste.
Okay. And then of that, how do you feel about typically your doctor's office, you have to physically call to make an appointment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're kind of checking availability and you schedule it from that standpoint. Do you think it's important for doctors' offices to have online scheduling so you can just log on and say, yep, they're available this afternoon, or no, they're not? How important do you think that is for them to have online scheduling so you can just see it right from their website?
I think that's important. Mine personally is like a grid format, so you can see what doctor is available at what times, what their specialty is, and you can really boil it down to like who you actually need to see.
Yep.
But I know a lot of like insurance makes you go through your PCP first, which makes that complicated. So that might be where telehealth is easier.
Mm-hmm.
So if your local doctor had online scheduling or you could call, what would you do more often? Would you call or would you just find a time online, book the appointment, and not have to call?
Online.
Okay, got it. So with the doctors, the big difference, we live in this world right now where we want everything instant. We want convenience when it's on our schedule, our time. Do you feel these clinics, whether it's at a local pharmacy, whether it's freestanding, do you feel that's more flexible because they're open later at night? They're kind of always open that you can just walk in and don't have to make an appointment? Or what would you, if you were picking between kind of scheduling that appointment during the day, other than getting to miss school? That's probably a loaded question, right? Scheduling that appointment a day or being able to, walk in at 7 o'clock at night and not have to wait. Does that sway your decision making in using healthcare of kind of the flexibility of hours and things like that? Is that important to you guys?
Yeah, I think it's convenient to be able to go in at any hour, but then again, you have the cost implications. So in that case, I would probably just say whatever, it can wait until the next available appointment at my local clinic, because I know that's covered or inexpensive versus ER rates, which are crazy.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably say, for me, I honestly would rather just go to my PCP. For me, I feel like a personal connection with a person, I feel like who's like helping you medically, to me is important. Obviously, that can vary from people, but to me, I prefer just scheduling an appointment with my PCP and then going in there.
Okay. Any thoughts? Or you guys good?
Well, for me, I personally just don't like walking clinics. Because I've done them before. It's a long wait. I don't like dealing with it. I'd rather just make the appointment.
Okay. So, talking about, you guys had mentioned that, that primary care, that local relationship, some of you is important, some of it's you, it's not. And we've mentioned a couple of different kind of platforms that insurance covers and things like that, where you can video with the doc, tell them your symptoms, they'll call you in a script like that. If your local doctor offered that video telehealth and it was 10 o'clock at night and you were sick and you were debating, hey, I may need to go to a clinic or make an appointment, whatever, and you have the option to video with a random doc on, a consumer-facing application, or you could video with your primary care doc, costs were the same, everything like that it was covered. What would be your preference from that standpoint if your local doc offered that telehealth option?
I'd go with that.
Yeah, the local doctor.
For sure.
And yeah, I'd call
the local one.
I feel like I still would want to go and physically see them because it's like lesson for error, and you can't always see everything just through a screen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they're able to physically check you and find anything that you might have not picked up on. So I think it's really important to see the doctor.
So I want to switch gears a little bit. There's a lot of talk about, the younger generations today and how much you guys have to kind of deal with social media, kind of cyberbullying, all that kind of stuff. I don't want anybody to talk about anything personally. I just want to talk in general, kind of what you see. There's a lot of talks of, should school be talking about how to deal with those types of things, such as depression, anxiety, things like that, or should parents be talking about it? And I don't want any personal stories or anything of that nature, but in your opinion, should school address more things like that, or should it be up to kind of your parents to talk about things like that? Or where's that comfort level?
I think the school should educate us on matters like this, depression and anxiety, because they can be really serious
Right.
things.
Okay.
I think it should be a good mixture of both, but I feel like if the school were to, they themselves need to get educated,
Right.
because sometimes schools, they try to reach out and teach us, but then they don't do it in the best way.
Yeah, I think it's the school's job to inform, like, educate the kids on what these mental illnesses are, how they affect the people who are living with them, how it might affect people around them. But as far as like what to do about a person who might have that mental disorder or something, I think that should be up to the parents. Because if I was a parent, I wouldn't want my school telling my kid what to do. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then again, I think just the best thing would be for both sides to do what's in the best interest of that person or child.
Yeah, I agree. I think there should be a healthy mix. And I think that some of it's also like personal, like certain disorders might run in your family. And so that's the parents' job to talk about. But I also think school can talk about like preventative measures, like how you can avoid anxiety or overcoming it or whatever.
Okay, good. And so the last question, and if anybody has any opinions on it, let me know versus everybody. But what do you guys think as kind of Gen Zs about therapists, right? So going to talk to a therapist, an adult, of kind of about your problems, do you think that, that would A, be helpful for somebody of your age, or do you think B, the stigma might be that it's kind of an adult and you can't really have those conversations? Or what have you heard from, friends or impressions from that standpoint about just kind of the stigma of therapists in general?
I think it really just depends on the person. If you find someone you're comfortable with versus, let's say you're a teenager and your parents want you to go to a specific person, you might not trust that person as much. Maybe they have a close relationship with your parents. And yeah, there are laws that protect you, but still there's that lack of trust. But there are some there are good situations and there are bad situations.
Right.
I think it's stigmatized for sure, like within our culture and within our generation. Plus it's also just a matter of accessibility. It's hard to, find the money or find a chunk of time every week to go see a therapist. And so I think that's why we see a lot of other, I don't want to say like coping mechanisms,
right.
But I'm saying I think people are, having to find alternatives to sit down therapy that's expensive and time consuming.
Yeah.
I just say, I think for certain people it helps, for certain people it doesn't. It really is up to that person. And I think it has moved. It is stigmatized, but I think it has moved a little more to a positive side. As like she said, there are coping mechanisms. Some are kind of like bad, obviously, drugs and alcohol, such stuff. And I think now a lot of more people are seeing that, like just talking to a therapist or a person in general is really helping, like very, very helpful for them. So I think we've seen some good stuff.
And then the last thing is there's, in a lot of the area of mental health and addiction, there's kind of this new wave because there's a lot of shortage, as you said, it's hard to get into a therapist, expensive, things like that, of peer-to-peer support. And describing what that is just in general is, maybe, a Gen Z is going through something at their school and they don't feel that, maybe that actual school, there's somebody that has been through what they are that they can talk to. And maybe they're kind of paired with somebody, completely across town or in California or whatever, that's kind of been in their shoes and gone through the same thing, that can be more kind of like a mentor to them that may be a couple years older or whatever, from that standpoint that you can kind of build that relationship with. How do you look at something like that versus a therapist? Is there a comfort level with somebody that's more similar to your age that isn't in your actual school that might have gone through and can say, hey, this is how I kind of got through this situation? Does somebody kind of similar to your age that maybe has been there, done that, is that resonate more with you, or an adult therapist, or is there different times and places?
I think it's subjective. There are different times and places because therapists are the professionals.
Right.
But I think that through talking with people your age, you can maybe find a little more empathy or sympathy. And it also allows maybe a little more comfort. Like if you're not comfortable with going and talking to some.
So maybe kind of an interim step to a therapist.
Exactly.
It definitely depends on what you're going through.
Correct.
And how long it's been happening.
Right.
Yeah, because support groups are always really good, and they can also lead you to like, this is a great therapist or a great organization that is really helping, and they can like guide you in that direction, while also you're still getting to talk to people who have been through the same thing. They have their own experiences, and it's really nice.
Cool.
I just want to say, for me, I think like that person I would want to talk to, I would want it to be an adult if they had gone through the same things as me, just because I feel like talking to a kid, we can definitely relate to each other, but I don't think, because we're the same age, we don't really get to talk about how to come out of that. And I think like the adult perspective, having gone through that and then like thriving afterwards, I think is really important. So for me personally, I'd probably want to talk to an adult who's been through it, just so I can see like their example, like follow what how they like kind of went through.
Yeah, and support, kind of peer-to-peer support specialists. And while it's peer-to-peer, if you were a freshman, maybe they were a senior and they got through freshman to senior year, not at the same school or anything like that, but it wouldn't be like someone of your same age. Like they would have given you a path of how they got through it from that perspective. Well, great. Anything else healthcare related that you guys think is important to Gen Z demographics that we haven't talked about today?
I don't think so.
Mental health awareness needs to be more of a thing that is talked about, because nobody likes to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's something people will skim over, but it's never really addressed. And I think that if it were more addressed, people would know how to handle it better. Schools could teach it. Parents would know how to better talk about it. It would be good.
So do you think there should be more exposure to support groups or hotlines, things like that? I mean, some of Gen Zs don't really want to participate in calling a 1-800 number for things like that. How do you think, as these healthcare professionals that are in mental health or listening to this podcast, how do you think mental health awareness that they should reach your demographic better?
Offering texting services, because I know some have implemented that.
Yep.
But they have under like really strict times, like really high prices. But I know most of us, we rather text, and it's a lot more comfortable because we can hide a little bit behind our screen. We're not having to show our face. So it's a little bit easier to trust a person when you can't see them.
And do you feel like that texting, you kind of are feeling them out to see like, is there really a human there? And then maybe you take it to a phone call or a video, but text is kind of that first deal for you to kind of build out that, is this like legit something that I want to continue a conversation? Is text kind of your first go-to build that rapport?
Because I think with any service that offers like texting a person, I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I'm pretty sure most of us by like 2 or 3 texts could tell if we're talking to a real person or like a bot.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right, well, thanks. This concludes our episode of all things Gen Z healthcare related. I want to thank Anderson High School for allowing us to get in the minds of some great Gen Zs. I want to thank you guys all for being here. If you missed the first 2 episodes, go back and download them. We talked about all things Gen Z communication. We talked about HR, banking, and now healthcare. As always, download any episode that's relevant for you. Subscribe to the shows. Get your Tuesday and Thursday shows delivered right to your podcast player of choice. That concludes today's episode, and thanks for joining.
This podcast has come to a close. To hear more from the Executive Innovation Show podcast, subscribe, submit questions, and share the love. Follow us on social. We're everywhere.